Hi everybody. Today's practice is going to be a yoga for runners. So if you've been outside lately, running around your neighborhood or running in the park, or even running maybe at a treadmill that you have at home, or if you've gone back to the gym, I am a runner. It's one of my favorite exercises outside of yoga. So I thought I'd throw together a little Yoga for Runners series. This is going to be the first video in the series. I'm hoping to make a series of 3 different kinds that have different kinds of stretches, targets different kinds of muscles. And, this is going to target the major muscles in our legs for the most part. We're going to stretch out our quads and our calves and our hamstrings and our Achilles tendon, just a lot of muscles in our legs that we use while we're running. Kind of gets us warmed up. You can do this practice before you run or after. I preferably like to take this a yoga practice before I go for a run. I find that my body's like looser. I'm already kind of warm from the practice, so I find that it helps me before I run. But really, there is no wrong way to do it, before or after. You get increased flexibility, as always with yoga practice. You're going to develop a bigger lung capacity with all those deep breaths that we take, which is also going to increase your endurance while you're running. I mean, running and breathing, same thing. You want to connect your breath to your pace, and the same thing with yoga. You want to connect your breath to your movements. Range of motion, improved balance, all of that good stuff. That's what we're going to get into for today's practice. And as always, you can always take this practice even if you're not a runner. And you're like, Jenny, I don't run. I don't like to run. Totally fine. This is, this will just give you all of the benefits, and you can take them, and maybe you will want to start running. Who knows? So anyways, we'll get into it. We are going to start this practice laying on our backs. So we'll start laying back. We're going to get into a little breathing before we get started. So lay back. Maybe you start with your feet flat to the mat. Find a nice, comfortable spot for your back body to relax. And we're going to start with that nice, big belly breath. So full, deep inhales. Even if you want to put your hands on your belly, feel the belly rise. Slow, complete exhales. Big, full inhales. Slow, complete exhales. We're going to take a few rounds of breath like this, really filling the lungs. And letting each breath get a little bit longer. One more long breath. We're going to stretch out our right leg nice and long. Keep that right leg active, so flex the foot. Bring in this left knee, hug it in nice and close. Giving it a squeeze, hug it in. Then we'll release that left leg and we'll hug in the right. Now we're going to take a little bit of a flow here right off the bat. So releasing this right leg and then bringing the left knee in. And we can keep our head on the ground here as we kind of alternate hugging. And maybe let that leg just hover over the mat instead of letting it rest. If we want a little more, lift the head, neck, and shoulders up off the mat. Get a little core activation, draw the navel in. One more on each side. We'll release the head, hug both knees in, and then release those feet flat to the mat. We're going to set up for a little bridge here. Walk our heels close in, palms face the mat. Fingertips might just brush the back of our heels here. Snuggle the shoulder blades together. And with our inhale, we're gonna lift. Press through the heels, through the feet, through the arms. Lift the hips up. Just the start of our practice, so nice, easy lift here. Keep the inner thighs drawing toward each other as we squeeze and lift. And that gaze straight up toward the ceiling. Now here's our flow. Lower back down to the mat, nice and slow. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Now we're going to keep this flow right here for a few rounds. If we want to add the arms, take the inhale and let the arms reach overhead. Exhale, lower them back by our side. Totally optional. Kind of make this flow yours for a few breaths. One more. Inhale, exhale. And once we settle back down, bring the knees up over the hips. Hands behind the head. We're going to get into some yogi bicycle. Elbows out wide. Bring the knees out over the hips purposefully so we at that core activation. Inhale, exhale. Right elbow, left knee. Inhale, center. Exhale, cross. Alternate sides. Warming up our core here. Our stabilizing muscles, all muscles we use during our run. Let's do one more on each side. Release the head, hug the knees in one last time. Now we'll grab a hold of the back side of our thighs. We're gonna rock ourselves up and we're gonna come into a toes pose. So coming over up onto our toes, I'm gonna shimmy back a little bit. We're gonna be on our toes, squatting, legs can be together, heels are up off the mat. And we're sending our weight, kind of shifting it forward and back. Fingertips can be on the mat, helping ourselves with the balance. Feeling the stretch, we're gonna feel it, the backside, that Achilles tendon, maybe a little up in our calves, right? Maybe rounding over the front of our legs here, gets a little bit into the low back. So kind of play around here, see what feels good. Maybe we wanna rock to one side and then rock to the other, kind of get into the side body a little bit here. And then eventually we're gonna roll these knees all the way down, let them touch down, let the legs stay glued together, and then walk the hands up. If we can, try to keep the toes curled. It's really gonna stretch out the bottoms of our feet. If you ever work with plantar fasciitis, this can be a good stretch for the feet here. So relax those shoulders, sit up nice and tall here. If this really is a struggle, untuck the toes and we can go there too. We're going to take the hands behind us here. Interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulder blades together and press the knuckles down towards the mat, taking those shoulder blades with us. Opening up the chest, opening up the collarbone area. If it feels right, we'll take a big inhale here. Exhale, and maybe we fold forward a little. Takes a little pressure off the toes. Gives us the opportunity to come forward. Maybe the forehead kisses the mat. Releasing the hands. Engage the core, come all the way back up. Release those hands and we're gonna come meet in table. Untuck the toes. Maybe if it feels good, we can give our ankles a little swirl in one direction and then the other. And then when we're ready, we're gonna meet in table. Once we're there, stack the joints, draw the belly button up in towards the spine. Really nice long spine from the crown of our head back through the tailbone. Cat and cow here. Inhale for cow. Drop the belly, shine the chest forward, lift the head. Exhale, curl the tailbone under, look towards the belly button, press through the palms. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Now we're going to keep that flow going, kind of getting all of the kinks out here, really working to warm up the spine. Let's do one more round. Meeting back at our neutral table, walk the hands out a step, curl the toes. We're going to take it to downward facing dog. Curl the toes, lift the hips. Hips go sky high. Think about our hip crease here and how the hip crease is really reaching to create the point here. We might need to pedal the feet out here. This is great for the backside of our legs. Really pedaling the feet out, one heel down, generous bend in the knee, then the other heel down, generous bend in the knee. And the heel does not even have to come close to touching the mat, especially since it's the beginning of our practice. Let the head hang. Now from here, we're going to lift the right leg high. Bend the knee and open up the hip. Squaring the hip. We're going to drive that knee underneath us for some fallen star. Hinge forward, plank style arms. Knee comes underneath. Now we can either drop this knee for a gate pose, or we can take this right foot, shoot it out to the side. So we're on the side of our foot. Left hand sweeps up. Fallen star. Almost like our side plank with that bottom leg kicked out, or we're down on the knee. Left hand comes down. We make our way back to downward facing dog. And we set up for the other side. So we lift that left leg high. Open up the hip. Send the toes behind. We'll square the hip, bring the knee underneath, let it travel underneath us as we hinge forward to plank. Either drop that knee or shoot it right out to the side. We're on the side of that foot. Right hand reaches up. Pressing the mat away, lifting those hips high. And right hand comes down and we step back to that downward facing dog. Why don't we drop those knees down? Take a little child's pose here. Open the knees wide, big toes together, soften back. Taking a few cleansing breaths here. We're going to meet back in our downward facing dog. And we can take that walk to the top of our mat. Hang in a little ragdoll here, dripping forward. Generous bend in the knees. Let ourselves really get there. And nice and slow, we'll roll ourselves up all the way up to standing. Arms sweep high with our inhale. Exhale, heart center. Stepping wide on our mats, we're going to work to open up the hips here with some moonflowers. Just start, turn the toes out, heels in, elbows to our rib cage. Inhale, straighten everything out, reach it high. Exhale, pull it all back in and sink down. Inhale it up. Exhale it down. Keep that breath flow connection here. One more, inhale and exhale. Right into our sunflowers. Inhale it up, still the same. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge forward, flat back, scoop with the arms. Inhale, sweep it high. Exhale and fold. One more, inhale and exhale. And we'll come all the way back up. Let the arms just float down. And we'll meet at the top of our mat. We're going to come into our sun salutation. One full round of sun salutation, and then we're going to follow it up with another round with an added lunge in there. Taking our hands at heart center, settle the shoulders. Take a moment here, recollect, notice how your body's feeling. And then our next inhale, sweep those arms high. Big inhale up. Exhale, forward fold, swan dive it down. Inhale, half back, nice long spine. Exhale and fold. Hands come to the mat, and we're going to step the right foot back and then the left, meeting down dog. Pull forward to plank, or maybe it's kneeling plank. Lower down to the mat, let the elbows hug in close. Inhale, scoop the chest up for cobra. Curl our toes, press back up into downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward, maybe it gets a lift first. And then our left steps forward, meet in our fold. Inhale, all the way back up. Exhale, heart center. One more round, just like that. Inhale, sweep it high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half back, nice and long. Exhale and fold. Hands come to the mat, we can bend the knees. Left foot back first, and then the right, down dog. Pull it forward, plank, kneeling plank. Slow lower all the way down to the mat. Big inhale, scoop the chest forward and up. And exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot finds its way forward. It might want to lift first. And then our right meets it at the top. Fold into it. Inhale to sweep all the way back up. Exhale, heart center. Pause here. Take a nice full breath. Notice the beat of our heart, quickening just a little. Now we have one more round, and we're going to add on a lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, forward fold, swan dive it down. Inhale, half back. Exhale and fold. Hands come to the mat. We're going to step this right foot back. Drop the knee, low lunge. Arms sweep high with an inhale up. Exhale, hands come back to the mat. Curl those back toes. Step the left foot back into down dog. And find that flow through to our plank. And down into cobra. Big inhale to scoop up. Exhale, meeting in downward facing dog. Right leg lifts high. Step it forward to the top of the mat. Drop the left knee. Take an inhale to sweep up. Exhale, hands to the mat. Curl those back toes. We're going to step the back foot to the top, meet in forward fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, heart center. One more round. Start with the left this time. Big inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half back. Exhale, fold. Step the left foot back this time. Drop the knee. Low lunge. Set it up. And then inhale, high. Exhale, hands back to the mat. Curl those back toes. Send the right foot back. Meet in down dog. Forward into our plank. Find that flow through to cobra. Maybe we prefer up dog. Make it your own flow here so that we all meet back in downward facing dog. Sending that left leg high. We'll step that left foot forward. Find low lunge once more. Right knee drops down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to the mat. Curl the back toes. We're going to hop that back foot to the top of the mat and meet in forward fold. Inhale all the way back up. Exhale, heart center. Moving into our warrior series. We're going to start with our warrior one. Right foot, step it back. Find a warrior one. We want our feet to be on railroad tracks rather than a tightrope here. So drop that back foot down so the whole foot's grounded. Bend into that left knee and square the hips. Arms reach high. Let the palms face each other. Fingers spread wide and relax the shoulder blades. Opening up warrior two. Left arm forward, right arm behind us. Find the just right positioning of our feet here so that we can bend into that front knee. Keep that back leg nice and firm. Flip that front hand over and we'll reach out and then up, reverse. Breathing in through that side body. Cartwheeling our hands all the way down to the mat. We're going to turn on this back foot so that we come onto the ball of our foot. Twisting. Left hand reaches high. Left hand comes down. And we're going to drop this right knee into low lunge. So I want to maybe walk the right knee back a few steps so that we can really lean forward into this knee and not let it come past the toes. So I'm going to keep this knee behind the toes. That's what's going to protect our knee. We can keep hands on either side of the foot here. If you prefer to keep your toes curled under, you can be there, or you can uncurl. Really find a good position here where you can feel that opening up in that right side hip. Shine your chest forward, forward and up. Relax the shoulder blades. Now from here, we could take this to lizard, or we would take the hands inside the foot. Feel free to walk this left foot over to the outer edge of the mat. Give yourself space here. And then maybe it is a come all the way down to the mat. Both forearms, don't struggle to get there. If it's a struggle, then we just let it go. If we're working with a block, put a block here and we can rest our forearms on the block. Kind of brings the mat to us, so it's less of a struggle here. But if our hips are really tight, then stay on the palms and work to get there. Let the breath work for you. We're going to take one more long breath here. Come back up onto our palms. And then walk the hands in toward us. And we're going to lengthen out this left leg. Hand can be on either side of the leg. Again, if we're working with a block, we might be up on blocks here so that we can have more height in the chest. If we can get our fingertips down on either side of the leg, great. And flex that foot. We're going to feel the difference to whether we can let our foot be floppy or whether we're really engaging that foot. That's where the stretch lies. Feel free to wiggle that heel out a little further if we need space. And the more that we can invite ourselves to soften forward over this leg, the stronger the stretch feels. One last long breath here. We're going to walk our hands back to the top, plant that foot. Keep our lunge, okay? So if you need to walk the back knee in just a step, we can be there. We're going to find security so the hands can leave the mat and we can come all the way up. Let the arms reach, relax the shoulders. Feel the tailbone tuck underneath us. We have that nice long spine. If it feels good, we might get a little back bend here. Inhale and reach the thumbs back. Exhale, bring the hands all the way back to the mat. Curl the back toe, lift the knee, and step that back foot in for pyramid. Drop both feet flat. We may need to walk the hands as far up as our thigh here to find our footing. And then we slowly soften forward and down over this left leg. Find that stretch. Micro bend in our knee if our leg is really tight here. Walking our hands all the way back up to our thigh. We're going to pause here, hand at the thigh, hop the back foot the rest of the way in so that we're on our toes and our left leg is nice and straight. We're going to take this to a little airplane. So let the arms come out by our side and let the toes leave the mat. Test our balance here. This is our balance challenge. So the higher that leg lifts, the lower the chest goes, so that we're keeping it even, keeping it balanced, till maybe we're creating that T. Maybe we flex and press like we're pressing against a wall with our heel. And sometimes we lose our balance, it's all good. Now, challenging even further, we're gonna bring this right knee all the way up and see if we can catch the knee and hug it up into our chest, like the start of our practice. Hugging that knee in, strong, really press, press, press through this left leg. Squeeze the glute. And release that foot. Standing at the top of our mats. Big inhale, sweep it high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half back. Exhale, fold. Step it to down dog. We'll meet there. Maybe we want to get right into child's pose. Our choice. Maybe we want that flow through. Forward to plank, down into cobra. And back to down dog. Resting breaths here. Whatever feels like a rest. Just a few breaths. We can hold down dog. Maybe it feels good to soften those heels towards the mat. Get that extra bonus stretching through the back side of our legs here, through the calves, through the hamstrings. meeting back in our down dog if we're not there already. We'll take it to the other side as we lift that right leg high. Look forward, step that right foot forward, and set up our warrior one. Drop that back foot all the way up. When we're ready, take our time settling in here. Tuck that tailbone under. Feel that opening in the hip. Square the hips as forward as we can. Opening up, warrior two, right arm forward, left arm behind us. Feel free to wiggle those feet around, find our balance, find our long spine. Shoulders might have crept up, let them relax. Flip that front hand over and we'll reach out and then up, reverse. Light touch on our back leg, breathe through the ribs. Cartwheeling our hands all the way down to the mat. We're going to take this to twist. Turn on the back foot, make it lunge, right hand high. Right hand comes back to the mat. We're going to drop this left knee. We're going to find a low lunge here. So notice if our knee is very in, and we're creating this box here. We want to take this left knee back just a step or two. Curl the toes, walk that knee back. And I didn't mention this on the other side, but if you have a blanket or a towel, or if you just want to roll and double up your mat, especially since we're on our knee for a little bit here, if it feels uncomfortable, feel free to stick something underneath that knee for comfort. So once that knee's back, curl or uncurl the toes, you decide. Fingertips on the ground, lift the chest, shine it forward, and let the shoulder blades relax. Maybe we move here into some lizard. We're going to take the right hand inside, both hands inside the foot. Walk that right foot over to the outer edge of the mat. Give your torso some space. And we can stay right here. We can come halfway, maybe we're working with that block, or we can take the forearms down to the mat. No expectations here, no struggle. We want everything to feel natural and fluid, no stress. We want to be able to breathe, especially breathe through these poses. Making our way back up into our palms. Take our time as we walk the hands back and lengthen out that right leg. Hand on either side of the leg. Maybe we're up on those blocks. Wiggle the heel forward if we need more space. Active toes. Let those toes face the ceiling. We are going to feel the difference. So if our foot is floppy here or pointed, we're going to feel the difference when we start to flex those toes to the ceiling. And if it's too strong, by all means, put a bend in the knee. But I'd rather see your toes flexed with a bend in the knee. And then we can soften forward. And then it's the work of our breath that helps us to straighten the leg eventually. Take one more big breath here. Walking those hands back to the top of the mat. If we've walked our knee very far back, we might curl the toes and walk it in maybe a step so that we can be secure enough to come up onto our fingertips. Find security, especially through that front foot. Press hard as we lift all the way up. Arms reach. Find length as we are reaching up. Feel that reaching, starting from down here, reaching all the way up. And then if we want that back bend, thumbs facing back, we're going to inhale. Exhale, hands all the way back to the mat. Curl those back toes, lift the knee, and hop that back foot in for pyramid. Hands can walk up to our thighs. We set up the feet. Let both feet come flat, both legs straight, and then work to soften over this right leg. We're going to feel it. Hands can stay on the thigh. Maybe they travel to the shin, but avoid leaning right on that knee joint, either above or below. Hands are going to walk all the way back up to our thigh. We'll meet here so we can take this into our little airplane balance. Come forward on these back toes so that we can get that just right alignment on that right leg. Firm the muscles, arms out to the side. We can stay here. We just put the majority of our weight on this right leg and we're light on these toes. So if we're really struggling with balance, stay right here. This is perfect. But if we want to a little challenge, just let the toes leave the mat. The higher that leg lifts, the lower the chest goes until we might create the T, but pause anywhere along the way where we feel like we can maintain, find our focal point, and breathe. Now, really bonus challenge, we're going to take this left knee all the way up center. See if we can catch the knee and hug it up close. Real strong through that right leg. Really firm up the muscles, firm up the glute. And then we'll release that foot. Standing at the top of our mat. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half back. Exhale and fold. Hands to the mat, bend the knees, step those feet back to down dog. We have the option to pause here or come through to our plank, down into cobra. Meeting in our downward facing dog. From here, we're all going to drop to our knees. Walk the hands in so we can come up on our knees. We're going to take this into a side stretch. I'm going to turn to face you. If you'd like to turn to face the long way of your mat, you can. Stepping this right foot out. We want to make sure our hip and our knee on this left side stay in line. Right leg nice and long with the toes face the same direction as you're looking. Right hand is going to rest on the leg. Lift that left arm high. Inhale up. Exhale as we reach up and over. And we might take our gaze up toward the ceiling, and really just helps us from rounding in on the pose. Really helps us to open up, keep the chest open. Let that arm reach high, soften back down. We'll bring this knee back in and we'll switch sides. Let that left leg come out. Foot flat, toes face the same direction we're looking. Left hand rests, right arm, I'm gonna move this knee in. Right arm sweeps up and over. Exhales, reach. take that right arm high, soften it down, and bring that left knee in. All right, come over onto our seat, sitting down into some cow face pose. So we're going to lengthen our legs out first. Take this left leg and cross it over the top of the right, like we were coming into a twist almost, but you're going to try to walk the foot as close by your hip as you can. And then try to let that knee soften away from you. Now we can be right here and we can stay. This might be enough. Full cow face pose. You bend that other leg, that right leg, bring that foot over to the other side. Walk that foot as close to the hip. You want to avoid having that foot underneath your sit bone. You want that foot out from underneath of you. So walk it out so that you can ground both of your sit bones. And it is perfectly normal to have a gap here, especially if we're tight in the hips. Completely normal. Maybe hands can come to our feet or they just rest on the sides of us here. Sit up nice and tall. Take our big inhale to lengthen up. Exhale, and maybe we fall forward. And it may just be the smallest micro movement that makes a big difference here. Eventually trying to melt over these legs as much as we want here. Try to find space in the back of our neck. Let the shoulder blades come down the back. We'll come all the way up to neutral. And then we're going to switch it out. Unwind this leg. Lengthen those legs back out. Maybe give them a quick little shake. And we're going to take it to the other side. So let that right foot come over towards the left. We can be here. Walk that foot as close over by the hip as you can. So you're kind of on the side of your foot here. Let that knee kind of fall away and flex the left foot. Again, we can stay right here. This might be plenty. We're feeling it here. That's the point, is to get that stretch through here. So we might bend the other knee and walk that foot. Just make sure that foot is out and it's not tucked underneath you. Hands can be on the feet or just resting wherever we're comfortable. Sit up tall, try to ground down as best we can through both sit bones. This right sit bone is going to want to lift. So we're going to try to ease it on down to the mat. Take our inhale and then exhale as we hinge forward over the legs. Maybe it's just a tiny bit, and each side can feel totally different. Coming all the way back up neutral. We're going to unwind the legs here. Lengthen them out in front. And then we're going to open them out wide. So take our feet out wide into that wide V position, as wide as we want to get here. Flex the feet. Again, we're going to feel the difference to when our feet, we can kind of let our feet be floppy sometimes. But really finding our intention and our, engagement from the toes all the way up to the crown of our head in every pose. So really finding that flex in our feet, the activation of our legs, the sitting up nice and tall through our sit bones. Take our inhale and sweep high. Lengthen the spine and then fold it forward. Drop the hands wherever we need them to be anchored. So no expectation here of your chest to get all the way to the floor. We can have little micro bends in our knees. Give yourself the space to find the perfect stretch for your own body. Softening and really stretching out the inner thighs here. Even finding length through our low back, right through our hamstrings. Spending a few breaths here. We're going to walk our hands back in toward us. Bring the bottoms of our feet together. We're going to settle into a little butterfly. Bottoms of the feet, maybe grab hold of our ankles. Working to settle the knees. So if the feet need to come farther away from us, it's less intense, and it may allow our knees to soften a little bit. So find that just right space. Again, sitting tall, always looking for that space between the ears and the shoulders. Make that gap as big as we possibly can. Let the knees settle. Maybe we're noticing one side feels different than the other. I'm noticing that this left side just doesn't want to settle as much as the right. It's all good. Notice if we're holding on to any areas in particular where we're just, we're afraid to let it go and really feel the sensation. Just ride the breath right through there. We're going to take one last long breath here. Bring our hands to our knees. We're going to help the knees back together, nice and easy. Take our time. And then we'll rock back onto our mats. Rocking back, make sure we have that mat behind for our head to rest. Hug the knees in. One final twist before we settle into a little relaxation. Lengthen out that right leg. Hug this left knee in just like the start of our practice, just like our balance. Squeeze it in tight. Notice if there's a difference between the beginning of practice. Maybe that knee comes in a little bit closer. Now take that knee across the body. Toes might touch down. Hips are going to roll. We want this left arm to extend out so we can take our gaze in the opposite direction of that leg. Take that knee back up center. Lengthen out that leg, bringing in the other knee, hugging in close. Taking time to observe whether that knee comes in a little closer than it did at the beginning of practice. And then take it across the body. Hips roll, toes might touch down, and right arm extends out. Look in the opposite direction of our leg. Taking our knee back up to center. We're going to lengthen out that right leg. Settle in for a little relaxation at the end of practice. Maybe legs are fully extended. Maybe you want the feet flat to the mat. Take just a few moments here to let our bodies really integrate all the hard work we've just done, all the stretches that we've done to prepare us for our run, perhaps. And really now is the time to get ourselves mentally prepared, because sometimes yoga, we know, is a lot about connecting mind-body, but running is the same. So we take the principles that we learn on our mat and apply them to other forms of exercise. Let your mind work for you too. Sometimes it helps me when I'm on a run and I let my mind kind of wander to other things, and then I bring it back to my breath, and I can notice the difference when I'm running. It's when I'm paying attention and when I'm not. So finding that nice comfortable spot and just settling in. Let your mind go. Let your breath settle to normal. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do in this moment. We're going to take one more final breath here. We're going to take a nice, full, deep cleansing breath. So really empty yourself out as much as you can. Let all the air leave your body. And then suck in a nice, deep inhale through the nose. When you're at the top of your breath, hold it and take one last sip of air. And then let it out. Sigh it out. Great. Now let's wiggle our toes, wiggle our fingers, bring our feet flat to the mat, and kind of roll over onto the side. Give our bodies just a little moment of thanks for coming to practice today. Taking this time to stretch out all of our muscles before doing our other exercise. It's so important to stretch muscles before and after doing any form of exercise, not just running. But hopefully these exercises helped you in your run. So let's make our way all the way back up to seated. Cross our legs here. Nice, easy seated. Hands at heart center. And we'll inhale our arms up, going beyond ourselves. Exhale as we open ourselves up, give it all away to the world and everyone in it. By that one simple act, we'll scoop back up the benefits, the gifts, and the blessings the world has to offer us, and we'll tuck them gently into our heart and be at peace. Namaste, friends. I really hope that this practice helps you in your other forms of exercise, including running. And please let me know in the comments below if it really, truly did help your run. I would love to know. Thank you, and I hope to see you guys again real soon. Bye.